Assalamualaikum and welcome back to the Scientia Women's in STEM series. Today I'm with Mohsina Asif, someone who I've worked with personally in my time in KSS and have also seen her achieve great things in the science communication space. And then as a Chevening scholar, Mohsina started her undergrad in mechanical engineering in UET and then started working as an integral member of Khwarizmi Science Society's team. She then got accepted into the Chevening Scholarship in 2024 and completed her master's in science communication from Imperial College London. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Abeer. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so one of the first questions I was interested in, and I asked this to my other guests as well, but how did you get into science? Because not everybody wakes up or just like is born and they're like, oh, I think I like science.
Yeah, I think for me the story isn't as awe-inspiring as it might have been for other people. For me, it was mainly like I enjoyed studying maths and science, something as basic as that. So I always knew that whatever I do, it has to be within the realm of science or maths, and especially maths. Like I couldn't let go of maths, and I was really bad at arts, so that was a clear no for me. And yeah, I think I really enjoyed studying science and actually finding out stuff on my own. Like even today, I was talking to somebody about my A levels, and I was like, when I was in my A levels, I used to study reference books as well apart from the course books because it just used to excite me so much, and I would actually look forward to my maths exams and everything. So I think that is sort of the things that led me into engineering because I pursued mechanical engineering, as you mentioned. So it was one of those fields where I was like, okay, so this is something that is really broad and you can go into a lot of different directions. So yeah, it's not as amazing
Yeah,
or that kind of a story, but like it's something just as basic as that. That's something that gave me joy,
yeah.
and I ended up there. Yeah.
Okay, as someone who really likes biology but really hates maths and physics, could you tell me like what exactly you found to be fun or what really you liked about the way maths works or
Yeah, so I think for me, it was like I loved the problem solving aspect of it, and I loved making my own ways of approaching a problem. So interestingly, my mom used to teach maths, like she taught maths for a good 21 years of her life.
um,
And but like I did not like studying maths from her, taking help from her because I was like, I'll do it my own way. And
mhm,
the little things of figuring out stuff on your own and actually understanding something like that eureka moment where you're like, aha, that's how it works. So I think that is what really excited me about maths. And interestingly, I actually, so till my A levels, I had both biology and maths, and I wanted to actually go into medicine, even though, like I said, that I couldn't imagine a life without maths. But like,
yeah.
I just wanted to go into medicine because that entire stereotype about that, oh, if you're good in studies, you become a doctor, and like that's sort of the way of validating your how good you are in studies and all of it. And because there was no other doctor in
Mhm.
my family, so I don't know, even though nobody really actually put that expectation on me as a, but I think I sort of imposed it upon myself. And I was like, okay, I would get into a government medical college, I would prove it to everyone. And to be really honest, like even though I couldn't imagine a life without maths, but at the same time, I was just doing it, I think, more of like proving a point to the society. So I
Yeah.
applied to engineering schools just as a backup, just
Oh wow.
like like oh, okay, I'm preparing for the MCAT, so I might as well just give the ECAT and the NUST engineering test and etc. So, but I think I'm just really glad how life worked out. Like I did get into medicine, I got into medical colleges, government medical colleges of Gujranwala and other cities, not in Lahore. And I
Mhm.
got into the BDS dentistry uh, college, the T. Montmorency college. But I don't know. I think honestly, when you're 17, 16, 17, you're just too young
Mhm.
to make decisions. And I'd already started going to UET. I'd already started with the classes and everything. So I just sort of I don't know. It's just like I just didn't ever leave UET to actually
Yeah.
go into medicine when the list actually came up. But yeah, that's
Yeah. I'd like to
sort of
expand on that a little bit because you mentioned that at that age nobody's really certain. And at that point I wasn't either. And I felt like I was just following little clues about myself, like, okay, I found this chapter about biology interesting, so maybe I like it more than chemistry or physics. So essentially making lifelong, like, big decisions based on just guesses. But you said
Yeah,
that you already started UET before the medical college acceptances.
yeah, yeah.
It must have been kind of hard at that point deciding for yourself, okay, I think I like math, so let's stay here, versus what
Yeah.
society says is the better option.
Yeah, and like I think that's exactly what you said. I think we're too young to actually make huge decisions. And like honestly, for a very long time, I wasn't even enjoying UAT for the first semester. So like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like that, oh, okay, I made this decision and it's amazing for me and all of that. I was just a confused teenager just doing things. And and I think my life overall, like if there's one thing that I would want people to take away from this podcast would be this, that it's okay, life doesn't work in a linear way. And because there's so much pressure on you when you're in your FSC or A levels and you're expected to decide your career,
Too
your
much.
one true calling.
Too
And,
much.
and actually, yeah, and I think this is the one thing that I've seen around myself as well, that there are people who actually did electrical engineering in their undergrad and then went on to do PhD in physics, or went on to do it in AI or computer, or even something like biomechanics. So it's like, I think our education system is just like, it makes you want to fit into boxes and
Hmm.
into like very rigid structures, but actually you're too young to actually know what you really want to do and what you really will enjoy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But I think that's the good news, that it's okay. You can always move and pivot and find
Hmm.
your own things that actually excite you. Yeah.
Yeah. Mahira, so she's another person I interviewed before you, but she also said that you should be good at what you do, but you shouldn't be afraid to pivot and ex try different things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like you should always be open to trying new things, because that is how you actually end up finding something that you like doing. And I think that's the thing, that whatever you're doing, just do it with sincerity. Like I know it just sounds so cliche, but just trying to learn, just trying to actually, because everything is like a challenge, right? And like I said, that when you start university, you don't know about a lot of stuff. Like I didn't know how GPAs, how semester, all of that stuff works.
Yeah.
And I really struggled because the entire system was so different. The teaching way was so different. It was like, yeah, it just didn't really feel very fulfilling. So
Mhm.
like, I think, I think my undergrad, like my first semester was mentally really hard for me.
Mm.
And yeah, but I think I just probably had some faith and I stuck through it. And now that I look back, I'm like, when like considerable time passes, you look back and you think that, oh, it wasn't that hard, but I still think it was really hard. And
Yeah.
so this is why I feel like for all the young students out there, like you should be open to the idea that
Mhm.
you can change your careers, you can change your line
Mhm.
of work and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing before we move on to your experience in UT, um, you said that you enjoy doing maths, and I found that I enjoy doing biology after trying to learn biology. So for the students who are just confused, I think I would like to tell them that they need to pursue something in order to figure out whether they like it or not. And it's okay to make wrong decisions in the way as long as you learn from them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the thing, right? Like that you're too young. So it's okay. Like you be kind to yourself. It's fine. Like if you enjoy something in a subject, just do it. But it's okay. It might be that once you start doing it, you realize, oh no, this isn't what I really
Yeah.
wanted to do. But yeah.
Yeah. How was your experience in UET? Because I know it's not an easy environment. Probably, I'm not sure if there's a lot of females over there.
So they're not. So I did mechanical engineering. So just to give you an idea, in our batch, the total strength was 200, and out
Wow.
of those 200 students, only 15 were girls, and they were all in the same section. Um, so yeah, I think overall my UET experience was like, it taught me a lot of things. I don't think I'll do my life any other way, because I learned a lot of things. and I was exposed to a lot of things that I might have not learned otherwise. But I think because of the female ratio, especially in a discipline like mechanical engineering, I think there is a lot of stereotypes and there's a lot of subtle sort of sexism that exists. And it's been there for like years and years. And so I think the one thing that did hurt me at some level was when it used to come from some professors,
Mm,
would be like that, oh, what are you girls even doing in this class? You should probably be pursuing some other field. And when you hear that from your one of the professors, you're like, oops, this, this
yeah.
is, yes, you shouldn't be saying that. But I think overall, I also met and worked with really good professors as well. Like for example, I did research during my final year, and I think that was a very fulfilling experience. Like, and the problems and the complex engineering problems, and like I said, I used to love solving problems. So I think that has
Mm,
always been the kind of thing that has excited me. So when I would get to do that as part of my courses, it was really exciting, figuring out a way of doing things yourself and not copying it from somebody, and not just because I'm pretty sure you might also be aware of it, that in public universities in Pakistan, it's very common to take the solutions from seniors and just do it
mm,
as they did it last year. But but I think figuring out how to do things your own way is the only way you'll actually get to learn. And
yeah.
while I do think that grades are important, but at the same time, I think that you shouldn't be blindly just chasing grades. You should actually, stop and question yourself that am I even learning something from this process? So I think
Mm,
I took those opportunities as my opportunities to actually learn something when it was like any assignments, any problems, and all of that stuff, projects. So I think that was a very rewarding process for me. And
yeah.
like I said, my research was really, yeah, I think it really fulfilled me in a lot of ways. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think overall the UET experience was like good and good in some ways, good, not good in that way, some ways, but like, yeah,
Mm,
I don't think I'd have it any other way. Yeah,
yeah. I actually have three generations of UTNs in my family. So my mom is also a mechanical engineer graduate around
that's
2000. But the one thing that they've mentioned in common is that it teaches you resilience and how to
yeah,
make the
yeah.
most of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, exactly. I think I taught, like UET taught me a lot of resilience, a lot of character development.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like before going to UET, it was like I was in a bubble. And like I said, you were too young, when you're like in your A levels, FSC. So, but actually, when I went into UET, and I especially like when I saw the students around me and how hard they had worked to be there, and how they were the first gen students to be going to university, and like it makes you think of a lot of things about equality in our country and how education works and everything. So like, yeah, I feel like I learned a lot of things outside of just engineering or mechanical engineering. And I think another thing is like, I think I'm being really unfiltered over here, but like, so our labs weren't that great. Our hands-on learning wasn't that good. I know you'll eventually ask me about my work, but I think that is one of the reasons why when I went onto like working at LUMS in Phys Lab, when I used to look at the labs, when I used to look at the equipment and everything, it just made me realize the importance of it, because I feel like you get the value of something when you've lived in an environment where it wasn't that easily handed down to you. So I think this is one of those things that really made me think about that, oh, probably I want to do something related to education or something like that, because uh, yeah, I just wish that this would have been better. Like, we're in university, we should be doing more than just making practical lab notebooks in which we're just drawing things and actually not really doing anything. And so I think, like I said, like it just taught me a lot of things in different ways, like the lack of
Yeah.
some facilities as well. Like they taught me the importance of
Mm-hmm.
those facilities and that kind of an environment. And like I said, like I think I had a really good research experience. So because, and I think that's primarily because of the supervisor who is a UT professor. He was very encouraging. He was very kind. And and I think that's the thing, like I think being kind is so important. Again, that's so cliche, but I think because like finding a kind of a person who actually encourages you to go beyond the basics, just the grades and stuff like that, and actually
Mm-hmm.
focuses on your growth and talks about your future plans, like he actually encourages you to apply for scholarships, to look into master options and everything. I think that kind of a professor or mentor is really essential in
Yeah.
your undergrad at any level, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading a paper where it said that females, even in university environments, seem to have lower confidence in themselves than males. And so I feel like that sort of just environment or like push from someone else can really lead you to do more things than you could have imagined. And you mentioned
Yeah.
that the different environments. I think I know what you're gonna say because you worked in phys lab, but do you think the difference in environments between maybe LUMS and UET or just like public and private was because of funding or was it because of the educational approach that teachers may have?
I think probably a mix of both. I think like with the public sector universities, I honestly I don't think I can really comment on it that well because I haven't worked over there, so I don't know how it works. But I think there's less accountability when you're in a public sector. And I think in comparison, in a private university, there's more chances of like experimenting and innovating and introducing new things. Probably. So like, I don't know, like I think probably that and also funds. Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I guess, yeah.
it's a hard balance. Um, but after this, you went into LUMS as an application engineer. So what's that like? And what was Phys Lab? What's Phys Lab in the middle of
Yeah.
all?
So basically, soon after I graduated, I was applying to different jobs and just like my other batchmates, very conventional jobs like management trainee officer, even though I wasn't really sure if that's the sort of the thing that I want to do. So the conventional engineering roles. Um, but I think there's one thing that while I was in UET, another one of the great things that happened was that I was introduced to Spectra, which is a science magazine, which used to be a science magazine.
Mhm.
So it's not active anymore, but it was founded by Hamza Wasim and Usman Anwar, who both were my 1 year senior in UET. So that's how I actually was introduced to science communication. So I
Okay.
already knew about Dr. Sabi Anwar through that. I knew about Khwarizmi Science Society, one of the organizations Spectra had partnered with. I knew about Lahore Science Mela, so and I knew about Phys Lab and all of that through Hamza, and um, and I knew about Nimra as well, Nimra Khurram. I think you know her as well. So she used to work at Khwarizmi Science Society at that time. So so yeah, I think that the point of this is that you never know that how life works out and everything. So excuse me. So basically, I think I applied to FizzLab. I saw an advert on LinkedIn. So I applied as an they needed an application engineer. They needed somebody with a background in mechanical engineering. They needed like a research associate slash application engineer. I applied over there, and funnily enough, at the same time, I got reached out. Nimra reached out to me, and she asked me that, "Oh, I'm leaving Khwarizmi Science Society, so I'm looking for a replacement. Would you be interested in working as a science communicator?" So I hadn't heard back from LUMS uh, during this little pocket of time. So I said to Nimra, okay, sure. So I already, because I was working with Spectra, I knew what science communication is. It was mainly in science journalism that I had been working with, but like that was completely pro bono. That was completely um, on a volunteer basis. So, so I said yes. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like this sounds fun because Khwarizmi Science Society, I knew about Lahore Science Mela and everything. So I said yes. Um I met her and everything, but at the same time, I think I heard back from Fizz Lab as well. So I actually started working both. jobs at the same time. And the reason I think
Wow.
why it worked out was because Dr. Sabi Anwar was my supervisor in both roles. So so yeah, it was like I was working as a science communicator, Khwarizmi Science Society as well, and I was also working as a research associate in Phys Lab, and it was basically called a startup. It's a startup called Cosane Scientific that was born out of Phys Lab, and at Cosane Scientific, it's still functioning. Where the team is basically focused on making homegrown lab equipment, experiments, and apparatus. So they needed somebody to do the quality control, quality check, writing manuals, maybe helping with some designs of some experiments. So it was sort of like it was like education plus physics plus a bit of engineering and some outreach and some writing, technical writing, and sort of that kind of a role. So yeah, I think I started working. This is like in October 2020. I started working in both the places, and yeah. So when I started working as an application engineer, a lot of the products were like being freshly made, and I think it was really exciting for me because like I remember we made like a motor controller that a little device that used to control motor. There was another Arduino control device called Fizzlogger, which was basically like a suite of different equipment, and it could control anything from temperature to pressure
Wow.
to movements and everything. So I think when I started working, I was primarily testing all of these equipment. I was making protocols to ensure the quality of these equipment, and one thing that I really enjoyed was writing technical manuals of them. Like the kind of manuals you get when you buy a TV or an AC or something, which
Yeah.
tells you how to operate it, how to troubleshoot it. So even making diagrams, which would become a part of the manual. So I think there was a lot of stuff that I got to do, and it was really exciting. And then again, I think that aspect of actually making things work and figuring out things on your own, I think that came in that role as well, and it just really excited me at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're freshly graduated and you were getting exposed to like both of these opportunities and you're learning so much stuff. Was there ever a point in all of this? Because I know that fresh graduates often tend to feel like uncertain because you don't have a syllabus that you're following. So did you ever feel uncertain at any point about is this the direction I'm supposed to be taking? Your smile
Yeah, I
tells
think
me you have.
yeah, yeah, I think that's a very appropriate question because when you are freshly graduated, yeah, you're not sure if this is actually what you want to do, and B, you're not sure if you're actually really good at what you're doing, and you constantly feel like an imposter, like, what am I even doing? Do I even know something? And yeah, I think you just generally feel very conscious about like
Yeah.
whether whatever work you're putting out there is even good enough or something. But for the first doubt, I would say that I think I was enjoying it, and the fact that I realized that there was so much that I didn't know, that there was so much I was getting to learn. I think that made me want to stay in that role, and I think on top of that, having the opportunity to work with Dr. Sabi, having the opportunity to work with the great team that there was over there, I think it was like, yeah, it didn't really let that doubt stay for that long that, oh, is this really something I want to do? Because I thought the kind of work that I was doing was very different from any other regular engineering role that I would have picked otherwise. Uh, and to be honest, it wasn't like I had gotten a lot of offers from other engineering firms and everything else. So, when you're freshly graduated, you just like you get an opportunity and you want to see how it plays out. And I think in my case, it was really good. Like I felt like that what I hadn't been able to learn during those 4 years in my undergrad, I
Mm,
was finally getting this chance to like make up for all of that.
yeah.
So yeah, it was really exciting. But I wish I didn't spend so much time in doubting myself and feeling
Mm,
like an imposter. Yeah.
yeah. Because honestly, nobody really knows what direction they're supposed to take. They just take it. If it's wrong, they walk back. If not, they
Yeah,
keep on going. And
yeah,
the more I get into the science communication space, the more I notice how small of a community it is. Like everybody knows everybody. Like you mentioned Nimra. Nimra opened up Fulbright stores for me. And so she really helped me in that aspect. But like everybody's connected, and once you get into this space, once you start knowing these people, they're all just like amazing people.
yeah. I think that is one of the reasons why I was really grateful for doing the work that I was doing, because I
Hmm.
really loved that how grounded it was in the community and how grounded it was in actually doing good for the people around you, and to not serve any other capitalistic goals, but actually, like,
Hmm.
yeah, doing good. So because like I always say this, that whatever work I'm doing, I need to see the meaning in it. Like I feel like doing meaningful work is what fuels me. And
Hmm.
and I think like whenever I used to, like in my initial days as well, when I started working at Khwarizmi Science Society, one of the first things that I did was apply for a grant in the government. And I was new, and I when I started working on the grant application, when I wrote about and found out about all the amazing things that the Khwarizmi Science Society had done since 1997, I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, wow, like there were astronomy festivals in 2009. They were like, there was like a whole science, national science movement in the entire country in 2016. Like, and I think that thing that you said about that everyone knows everyone, and when you see all of these people having worked actually on the ground for so long, and um, trying to actually build that curiosity amongst children at such a grassroots level, it's just a different feeling, like for example, there's Abeer Asif, who is the former president of the Lahore Astronomical Society. So he's also one of the joint secretaries. He used to be one of the joint secretaries of the Khwarizmi Science Society. And like seeing his pictures, seeing all these outreach sessions that had happened from the Khwarizmi Science Society. So like those people, and when you see them doing all this amazing work, I think it's really inspiring on a whole different level. And I think it's these kind of things that make you want to stick in a profession like this.
Hmm.
Like, oh my God, there's so much heart-touching moments. But yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that you became a lead communicator in the end. So what does that position entail? And what was that like compared to your other position? Or
So I
like what
think
you did before?
so a lead communicator, it's like I wasn't there wasn't like a very big team at the Khwarizmi Science Society. Before me, there was Nimra. Before Nimra, there was Charisma. So there's always mostly been like one science communicator who used to be handling everything. And like around the
Oh,
Lahore
that's a
Science Mela,
lot.
yeah, that is a lot. And I think around the Lahore Science Mela, like a
Mhm.
team would be recruited, and there'd be more than one science communicator, and then there'd be people who would be handling the volunteers, there'd be people who would be handling the exhibitors, etc. But primarily there'd be one science communicator. So while as an application engineer, I was working on like technical things as a science communicator. When I took on the position of Nimra, she was essentially a lead science communicator as well. So so it became like a round the clock sort of a job, because like you become this one point of contact for everything Khwarizmi Science Society. And so Dr. Sabi Anwar was mainly the supervisor. He used to give the direction of what we should be doing, etc. Um, but I think when I became the science communicator, it was like a lot of different things, mainly brainstorming new events, new kind of courses, new kind of workshops, and recruiting or like running induction cycles for volunteers and stuff like that. And then also handling the finances, all of the finances, which was
Wow.
quite a new thing for me to learn. And yeah, I think because that was 2020, it was like the COVID year, so we didn't organized Lahore Science Mela in 2020 and in 2021. So during those years, it was a lot of other stuff that was going on. It was mainly online events. So so yeah, I was able to like organize a number of workshops, courses, talks,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And then like when the 2022 Lahore Science Mela was when we decided that okay, we will organize the 2022 Lahore Science Mela, then the entire process began of making the budgets, reaching out to donors, making a pitch deck and everything. And because it was happening like after a pause of 2 years, a lot of things had to be done from almost scratch. And it was also revamped in a lot of ways, like the prior Lahore Science Melas, 2017, 18, 19, were done in Ali Institute. And we decided to do the 2022 Lahore Science Mela in a public school, which is DPS Model Town. And one of the reasons for that was that we wanted it to be, because it is a festival for children, so we wanted it to be in a venue which is more easily accessible for children, their parents, students, and everything. So I think, yeah, that's sort of the work that I was doing as a science communicator, and then came on the job to like uh, build a team that would
Yeah.
actually work on the Lahore Science Mela. And I think that was really exciting as well because I had worked individually for such a long time, and when I was starting out, I understood the pressure and the mechanics of working as a science communicator. So I think that really honed me as a leader in working in the science communication field.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like one of the things I say is that I try to be really understanding and kind to anyone who's working with me because like I know how hard it can get.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I think that's the thing with science communication. And I think no matter who you see, most of the times it's a very small team that's
Mm-hmm.
working to build something really big, and and the pressure is huge. So yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
was.
You mentioned that you actually make a team for each of the melas. Is there something you look for in their characteristics, or you mentioned that, I mean, I've actually also been in one of those gatherings where they're gathering all the new volunteers, and eventually that team kind of does shrink. People do fall away. So what do you think differentiates the people who keep on sticking to the end versus who maybe not?
I think one of the basic characteristics is being responsible, because that's the thing, there's a lot of chance that you might not be able to handle all the work and you might feel stressed out, but feeling responsible enough to communicate it to your team members that this is the problem that I'm having. Just give me a bit more time, because I think what really doesn't work out is when you don't even put in the effort, and yeah, I think that just makes the person fall out. And another thing is like having that love for science,
Mhm.
that feeling, that passion to actually do something good for the society or the community. I think that's really important, because and I don't think it's really important to have a science background per se. Like if you are, and you could have done something which is a non-science degree, but you could
Yeah.
still be a science enthusiast. So I think, yeah, there's like not really like a set list of characteristic, but yeah, just being more responsible towards
Mhm.
whatever you're supposed to do would be one of
But
them.
that's the charm, right? That it's not limiting you in a box. You can actually expand beyond what you think is allowed for you or you get the permission to do. And I mentioned these three skills to my siblings often is reliability, consistency, and being on time. And I feel like these three skills are really important wherever you are.
Yeah, yeah. And because I think, like when I used to tell somebody that, oh, I'm a science communicator, they think that, oh, maybe I just go out and do science shows. But
Yeah.
actually, I was doing a lot of things which are not really science communication per se. Um, like I said, like I mentioned, handling the finances, replying to a lot of people, handling the social media, designing stuff for the social media. So, it's about like the end goal is
Yeah.
science communication, but your maybe your day-to-day tasks might not be. So, like you said, that consistency and actually being reliable, I think
Mm-hmm.
that they're really important qualities to have because yeah, not you might not be doing great work all the time, but whatever work you're doing is important. And like I said earlier, that it's very important that you are sincere with
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's an important quality to have.
Yeah, I'd like to expand on that, like the importance of science communication. And you know that I've worked under you as a science communicator too, and
With
we
me,
went through
with us.
different
Yeah.
melas. But I personally didn't understand the importance of science communication. I was like, how can this one moment change someone's trajectory or help them understand the importance of science until I was actually in their shoes? So was there like an aha moment where it literally gave you the proof that, yeah, this is important work and this needs to be done?
I think I think there were a lot of moments, but some of the moments that because I have written about them, they're on the top of my head are I think when I was working on the Lahore Science Mela 2022 along with our team, talking with the exhibitors, talking with the students, talking with people who were like, "Oh, we've been so excitedly waiting for this
Mm,
Mela. We like the last Mela was in 2019, and like our children have literally grown up with each Mela, and like we can't wait for the next one." And I think all of those things, plus, like, for example, having a team of exhibitors from a madrasa and having those students so excitedly having worked on robots and
mm-hmm,
automated systems. And like you realize that, okay, so science communication and science outreach and actually taking science outside of classrooms and outside of universities and institutions is the only way of including as many people as are possible because we have so many stereotypes in our head that oh, who can do science and
yeah.
what should a person doing science look like. I think
Mm-hmm,
we have those preconceived notions, and I think it's only through science communication probably that you're able to knock those down because like just talking with people, I think that has been one of the best peak experiences for me, like getting to know so many people, getting to talk to so many people, getting to talk with parents and them just being so glad and just sort of, grateful that okay, there is somebody doing positive work in the country. And like I remember this one of there was somebody who sent me a voice note after Lahore Science Mela 2023. She was like, I'm a single mother, and she and her daughter, 6-year-old daughter, both were volunteering at the event. And she was like, I feel so happy that my daughter is in safe hands, that the future of this country is in safe hands. Because when I saw that how selflessly the entire team was working during the Mela, it just gave me a lot of hope and it gave me a certain sense of calm that things aren't as bad as we think of them to be. So I think that little spark of hope that the Mela gives to a lot of people, that science communication, any outreach event gives to a lot of people, I think that's probably been that yeah, that moment for me probably.
and it's bridging barriers for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I think with science and maths, there's a lot of intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, like I have felt that for a long time as well. And it's only now that I feel comfortable enough to be like, oh, I don't understand this. Like, I'm not quite sure if I understand this. Like, if somebody is explaining like a physics or an astronomy concept, I'd be like, I'm not sure if I get it. So I think that's very common in science for people to feel like, let's say somebody has a microscope out or a telescope out and they're making people observe through the device. There might be people who would have never seen it before in their
Mm-hmm.
lives. And I think the key to good science communication is that nobody around you should feel stupid or nobody around you should feel like they're not smart enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we've all been at a point where we didn't know any of this. And like I said, that there's so much stuff that I still don't know. So even after like an engineering degree or a master's or whatever, but like I honestly don't understand a lot of things and Like I was trying to wrap my head around a few days back. Like I was designing an activity on measuring the Earth's circumference, and like I couldn't, for the love of God, like understand latitude and longitude and how sun's position changes and everything. I think I still don't understand it, to be honest. So I feel like, yeah, I think it's really important to let the other people around you know as well that it's fine to not know everything. I think that's the
Yeah,
most
yeah.
human thing, and that is what makes science communication so
Mhm.
impactful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure kids who come to these melas are not only excited, but also the kids who are actually demonstrating. They're probably really excited. They're curious. They're asking questions. They're okay to not always know what they're supposed to, what the answer is. So
Yeah.
I guess what makes that different from the regular class projects that they do in school that they might not be super excited for, that they're just trying to get over with for a grade. And the same
Yeah.
kids are so different in this environment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because I think when you take out that pressure of grades and when you take out the pressure of winning and losing, I
Mm,
think naturally that creates a very better environment for learning.
yeah,
Because as long as you're running after grades or whatever, like that's the only thing you'd be able to focus on. So, and I think it's really important that we let the kids who are demonstrating know this as well, that it's okay if somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to. It's completely human and it's completely okay to say that, oh, I'm not really sure about that. And you don't have to feel bad about saying something like that. So, yeah.
yeah. And after this, you got into the Chevening Scholarship.
Yeah, so I think it's been like a long process for me because ideally I wanted to do my master's right after I graduated. But another thing that I think I would say to people is to wait it out. It's fine to be trying immediately after your undergrad as well, if you feel ready, if you feel sure. But it's okay to, in fact, like I would recommend people to actually work after their undergrad because you realize what you really want to do after you start working. So, so right after I graduated, besides working and everything, even though like there was a lot of, I was working very long hours because obviously like I was doing two things at a time, and so I didn't really get a lot of time to apply, but I applied for Fulbright and I applied for mechanical engineering masters in 2021. I didn't make it beyond the interviews, which again I feel like is a blessing in disguise, and because till then I thought that okay, maybe because I have done my undergrad in mechanical engineering, this is what makes sense that I do my master's in mechanical engineering. And like I said before, that I enjoyed my research project, I enjoyed doing that, and I thought that I'll do my um, graduation, my master's in something similar to that. I'll probably expand upon that research and all of it. But now that I think of it, I don't think I felt as passionate about doing my master's in mechanical engineering. So this is why I feel like that, okay, even if I was able to finally write those two essays of Fulbright, which were in itself a huge win for me because I hadn't been able to actually write down what I want. Because I think it is quite a process to actually map out all your journey and to make sense of it that, okay, this is the work that I've done up till now, and what are my ambitions? Where do I want to go? And what do I want to do in the future? And that is exactly what your scholarship and university applications are looking
yeah,
for. So I think you could be doing the most amazing work out there, but if you don't get the time to actually sit down and make sense of all of it, so yeah, you can't write a compelling personal statement and everything. So I think it
that's
was really
very
hard
valid.
for me. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was really hard for me to actually write that story. But I'm proud that I was actually able to write those two statements. And even though if I didn't make it to the uh, final round, it's okay. And so till then, I thought I wanted to do mechanical engineering. But I think after that rejection, probably, and after thinking a bit more about it, and again, I would say talking to Dr. Sabi, who I feel like is more than a supervisor, has been like a mentor to me, I talked about this to him. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, and now I feel like maybe I want to do something in engineering education, maybe, something on the border of engineering and education and outreach and something like that. So I think those conversations really helped. He encouraged me to look into programs on science museums, on science outreach. So I already knew about the science communication program, but I wasn't uh, sure that you need a science communication degree to do science communication, because there are a lot of people who do it without a degree, and that's completely fine. Um, but yeah, I think that those conversations really helped, and I was working at LUMS, I was working at the Khwarizmi Science Society, and in parallel to that, I started looking into science communication programs. There are really good ones in both the US and the UK, but like most of the programs in the US are more focused on science journalism, and whereas the ones in the UK are more like focused on not just journalism, but also science museums, science centers. There's a lot of science radio and stuff like that as well. So, so yeah, that's the way I got led into science communication. And I applied to Imperial, UCL. And yeah, so I got Chevening Scholarship a bit later than that. Like I left Khwarizmi Science Society and LUMS in 2023 December, and I got the Chevening Scholarship in 2024, in the summers of 2024, and eventually I left for the UK in September 2024. So yeah, it was honestly like just trusting the process and not really knowing if I'll get
Yeah,
it or not. But I think one thing that I did learn from the entire process was that I realized that I really did want to study science communication. I really wanted to do this because when I sat down to write my four essays for Chevening Scholarship or my personal statement for the university applications, I didn't feel like I have to force it out of me. It just sort of made sense. It just all sort of flew, and I think that is exactly what your personal statements or your statements are supposed to be like. You shouldn't feel like you have to fake your
yeah,
passion or ambitions or whatever. So I think the entire process of that, and like even the Chevening Scholarship, like when I went into to give my interview for the scholarship, I felt like I genuinely enjoyed the conversation because I told them about what science communication, what is the kind of work that I've been doing. So it just felt like I'm just talking about my experiences and the kind of things that genuinely make me
excite
really
you.
happy and excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
because this is the kind of thing that I've been telling my family about for the last I don't know how many years, and being like, oh my God, you all should come to the Los and Mela. You all should look at these videos. You all should like be a
yeah,
part of the science society. So yeah, I just genuinely felt like a conversation. And I think over here, just a quick thing, like I mentioned, Hamza Wasim, he was a Rhodes Scholar and he studied at Oxford.
yeah.
And I remember he had told this to me many years ago about his Rhodes Scholarship interview. So Rhodes Scholarship is the kind of scholarship that I think it has changed now, but back then only one person from Pakistan used to get it.
Wow.
And I think now it's just two people, but back then it was just one person. And I remember him saying this to me many years back that, oh, I really enjoyed my interview because I felt like it was a conversation and I didn't want it to end. And I was really enjoying the conversation. And I just thought to myself, how can somebody really enjoy their interview? And I think it's only once I gave my evening interview that
Yeah,
I realized that, oh, maybe this is, what it actually feels like. So I think for me, this was like sort of the point where everything sort of fell into place where I realized that, okay, like I said, that your life path isn't linear, but
mhm,
eventually it would make sense at one point or another.
yeah,
So I was like, okay, maybe science communication is something that I feel really passionate about. So yeah, I think that was how I got into the teaming process
yeah.
and everything.
It's funny how one can take so many years just learning about one's own self and what
Yeah.
you may be interested in. And the funny thing is, these points never line up when you're looking in the future. You can try to get them to line up, but if it doesn't work and you're disappointed, then it kind of falls over. But when you look back, then you can connect the dots. and you can see
Yeah.
that everything has like a direction.
Yeah. So I think that is why I feel like the anxiety that we have regarding future is valid, though like we are supposed to have faith, but I feel like that's the thing, we're all human. We don't know how
Yeah,
tomorrow is going to turn out
yeah,
to be. So you never know when you're in the process. But I think one thing is that it's very important to take some time to
hmm,
think back and to reevaluate about the kind of work that you're doing and what genuinely makes you happy. Because
yeah,
that's the thing, about interviews, about statements and all of it. You can't fake your
hmm,
passions. You can't fake it till a very long time. So you once you're only genuinely really excited by something is when you will
yeah.
actually get far ahead with that thing. Yeah.
And maybe it's my intuition, but I noticed that maybe writing those essays really helped you kind of flesh out what you want to do and what you may be interested in because I personally had to write mine like 8 times, and by the time I got to the end of it I was like, oh, this is what I might be interested in. So it really helps you with just like self-discovery.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really did help me was then again, I think this is something that was recommended to me by Hamza, Wasim, and Usman, the founders of Spectra. So I think this just underlines the importance of having good people around you
Yeah,
who have that experience and who are able to help you with these sort of things. I think one thing that really helped me was them saying that the first step is to actually just put it all out on a paper and to put down everything you've done so far. So I think that exercise really helped me because I had done so much stuff that I didn't even remember because I was just doing them during the whim of it. And it's only once I made a very, very untidy Google Doc. And so the first thing that I did was I updated my CV. I made like a master document. I put in everything that I had done, every event that I had organized, everything that I made from scratch, team I trained, etc., talk I gave. So I think that really helped me. Um, and like, for example, for the Chevening essays, there are like four things they ask you about your leadership, about your networking, about your career plans, and why do you want to study in the UK. So I think I just made that Google Doc, and I kept on dumping stuff in there. And I think that process really helped me. Eventually, like you said, that you wrote your essays like 8 times. I, whoever I tell this to doesn't believe me, but I actually wrote my essays in a single go.
no
And
way.
yeah, I did. So like 2023. So it was like I took 5 days off or 4 days off, I think, and I wrote my four essays during that. So I had all those notes and I had all those very gibberish, rough points, but I actually ended up like writing the final essay in those 4 days. So yeah, that's how it turned out to be. But I think that writing process in itself was very revealing for me. And
Hmm.
because I think there had been enough time that I had been working in science communication. Like I said, I was working since 2020, October, and I wrote my essays in October 2023. So it was already like 3 years. So
Yeah.
I think that just gives you enough uh, perspective to write about it. And like I said, I think it just eventually just the words just sort of flew on the paper
Hmm.
and it was
And you'd also been thinking about it
yeah,
for
I
quite a
think
while.
yeah, I had been thinking about it. So yeah, that is really important that it is in your head. But yeah, I think the final thing it can take months, it can take days, it can take hours, but
Yeah.
yeah, it can differ from person to person. But what's really important is that you actually really want to do whatever you are
Hmm.
applying for, pitching yourself for. That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah. And how was your experience in like Imperial College? Because I know that you uh volunteered in the digital media inter as like a digital media intern too.
Yeah. So basically so it was a 1 year master program and it's a science communication program in Imperial College. Imperial basically has two programs in the science communication unit. One is science communication, the other one is science media production. So I was in the science communication course and it has like a lot of different modules in every term. And I think it was a very challenging and a very good experience because coming from a STEM background, you when you go into science communication, you realize that science communication is largely a humanities sort of a field, and learning about the social aspect of science was something that was really new and that was very um, exciting as well. There was the whole module about the media representation of science. There was modules on science journalism, and I
Oh,
think on top of all of that, the things that I really truly enjoyed was were studying about science museums and doing a practical course on science exhibitions, in which we actually designed an exhibition for the Science Museum, London, and so I think that
wow.
was really like it was really exciting to be actually learning about things that you had been doing for a very long time. I think that's one of the things that I wrote in my essays as well, that uh, I have been doing science communication, but I would now want to like actually learn it from a theoretical lens and from more of a practical and theoretical lens that's grounded in academia. And and overall, I think it was a really good experience. So like, and while I was doing my master's, so we had to work on a dissertation as well. And another thing was that we had to complete a work placement as well. So as part of the work placement, I worked at the Royal Institution. So the Royal Institution is the house of Christmas lectures. There, it's where Michael Faraday worked and discovered
Wow.
magnetism. And so it was really, it was like really cool being a part of an institution like that and working with the people over there and actually experiencing how work works over there. And so, yeah, I was in the digital media team while at the Royal Institution. So it was like a month-long internship.
Mm,
So that was really, yeah, like it taught me a lot of things as well about how things work in an
yeah.
organization like that. Because I think the thing with the UK is that science communication is still way more organized over there than it is over here. There are proper there are museums, there are a lot of science centers, there are a lot of science communication organizations, there are independent science communicators, there are courses on science communication. Science communication is taught in undergrad to
Wow.
no matter what a course you're doing, you could be doing something in biochemistry, and you would have like a mandatory
Mm,
module on science communication, science journalism. So I think like science communication is still way more organized over there, and like getting to learn that was
yeah.
really a really good experience. And I think on top of all of that, getting to be a part of the museums and getting to experience them, study them, visit them. So that was
Yeah.
super exciting. Yeah.
It was just 1 year, but the way you say it, it sounds like years long. Like, so there was no time for just like adjustment. You just like ran in on
Yeah,
your.
I think that's how it is. Like, honestly, even though I came back pretty quickly, so my master's course ended in September, and
Mm,
I was back in September. I could have stayed a bit longer, but I was really
yeah.
homesick.
Oh,
So, and even though I feel like I didn't do as much stuff as I could have in that 1 year, because I think the whole process of adjusting in a new place and
it is hard.
figuring out the house market, the accommodation horrors, and all of it, and like being really homesick. So I think it just felt like I was really tired all the time. And I feel like I could have done way more stuff and I could have experimented more with my modules, because like I remember in the first term we had like practical modules in which we did radio, we did like stuff like
Yeah.
podcasting, and we did TV.
I
And
saw some of those.
yeah, it was like really exciting. And then we had like dedicated whole modules on these as well, which I didn't choose. And now I'm like, I should have done something
Mm,
crazy like that, like made a radio package or something. Um, but yeah, but still overall that the exposure was pretty good. Like, yeah, so like there's an event called Imperial Lates, which happens, I think like thrice a year probably. But like it's basically it's a late night science communication event, and it's mainly for like adults, and but like they can bring in their children as well. So I think seeing and being a part of events like these was really cool for me, because I think we have a really we still have like a very limited idea of how science communication is done in Pakistan, which I feel like is still pretty amazing considering the resources that we have. But yeah, I think that entire exposure was really amazing, and I'm truly grateful that I got to experience all of that.
Yeah, I have two last questions before we wrap up. One of them is when you come back, was there a reverse culture shock, or were you just like excited to get back into the space? Or are you still adjusting at this point?
Yeah, I think I am kind of adjusting. So because I think it was just 1 year, and because I was actually looking forward to going back, because I missed my family a lot. Even though I was really happy to be there as well, but then I was missing my family as well. And I think going over there has really made me more of a, like, I don't know if I want to use patriot, but like I think I was just missing Pakistan a lot. So like I wasn't really like reverse. There wasn't like a reverse cultural shock as such. But I think career wise and figuring out that okay, where do I want to go from here is that was a thought that is still with me. And one thing that I feel like now that I've experienced in the UK, I miss is the mobility that I think as women you get when you're in a
Yeah.
country like that, like being able to just walk out of your door and go anywhere at any time you feel like, and not having that over here is like something that I really miss. So yeah, I feel like there has been a bit of readjustment, which I think is going on, but not really like a much of a shock. I think I kind of did anticipate it, but at least like I'm happy to not be as alone. But but yeah, there is a bit of readjustment
Well,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I guess a lot of people underestimate how homesick you can get when you're studying abroad. It sounds very fancy outside, like to the person just looking at it, but there are like a lot of difficulties involved with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and so my last question is there something that you want to talk about that we haven't mentioned throughout this interview, or something you would like to tell your younger self or to people who are watching this and
Uh,
thinking, maybe
Not
I want to
really.
pursue what she is?
Yeah, not really. I think we have sort of covered everything in general. But like one thing is that so currently, like after Khwarizmi Science Society and after LUMS, currently I'm working at the Kainat Studios, and I'm working as the project manager, and I also am a voice actor of an animated astrophysicist female
Wow.
character
Uh-huh.
called Dr. Zara. So I think the kind of work that I'm doing right now is very exciting as well. And like it's just one other sort of the part of that entire journey. And I think when I look back at the whole of it, I think, like I said earlier, that a lot of things don't make sense when you are in the middle of it, and I'm still in the middle of it. I mean, we're all in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And like it's okay, things eventually do fall into place, do make sense, and you never know what you truly enjoy or what you actually really like
Mhm.
doing for the rest of your life. And it's okay, you don't have to do one thing for the rest of your life. So I think science communication overall does have a scope, if that's how you'd like to put it, in any place, to be honest. Like, I think there's a lot of, I think this is sort of the thing that can fit into a lot of universities as well, because currently like I know LUMS School of Science and Engineering has a science communication unit, um, but at the same time there are a lot of independent organizations as well, like I mentioned, Kainat Studios, and like there are other places as well. So I think I'm just really glad that like it all worked out the way it did. But for anyone else as well who is interested in science communication, I would encourage them to pursue it at a postgrad or at an academic level as well. Because while you can definitely do it without a degree, but I think when you get to learn it actually in a proper learner setting,
Institution.
it's just, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just really important as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Mohsina. I had like a lovely conversation with you, and I'm hoping that people who listen to this can take a lot away from it.
Thank you. I think this was a really fun conversation. Like again, it didn't
Yeah.
feel like an interview, it felt like a conversation, so that was pretty great.
Yeah.
Thank you for
That
having
was the aim. Of course.
me. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.